Hi, I'm Jenny Long.
And I'm Celie Clark.
And we are
Jenallee. Jenny, guess what?
What?
Today on the show, we have your most favorite person.
Seriously, you have Adam Levine on the show today? I'm so excited. I can't even believe it.
No, let me rephrase that.
His birthday was Monday.
Let me rephrase that. Okay. Your most favorite ed tech guru hero.
Okay, I know who this is.
Okay.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Find out who's on the show right after this. Ready, Jenny? Close your eyes.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, open!
Hey, Jenallee. How you doing?
Good. We're so glad you're on the show. And
Oh, it's great to be here.
Jenny might be lost for words because she does. You are her ed tech hero.
Remember when we were at TCA a few years ago, and you're like, Jenny, we have to go over there and meet him. And like we walked, and he doesn't even remember this moment. But we went over there, and we were like, I was like, Mike.
Well, hey, thank you for having me. Your show is quite amazing, right? You're the dynamic duo. You guys are the ed tech Wonder Twins.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Thanks.
And just for today, because I'm on a special show, of course I'm wearing my cape.
Yes, we have our cape.
But I brought something very special today. These have never been shown in public before. For the first time, I've got brand new purple.
Wow.
Look at that, those socks.
Yes.
Those are awesome.
Love it.
Socks on just for today. It's very special.
Love it.
Wow. That's fabulous. We feel so special.
I know. Now we're going to have to go get some cool OneNote socks.
I like your purple shoes, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my purple Pumas. I got those recently.
Yeah, we saw those on Twitter, too. Those were good. All right, so we have a few questions for you. Jenny, you want to start?
Sure. So, there's this buzzword of an inclusive classroom. What exactly does that mean to you? And kind of share with us what it means to be or have an inclusive classroom.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And actually, in general, Microsoft has our mission is to empower every person on the planet to achieve more and every student on the planet. And that mission itself is inclusive, the words empower and the words every. But the way that we like to think about the inclusive classroom is how do we enable students of all abilities? How do we help enable independence? How do we have teachers reach every learner? Because we know teachers want to reach every learner. Now, sometimes they can't due to the scale or differentiation. But in terms of the actual inclusive classroom that I usually talk about and show, the 4 categories that I break it into are just core reading, writing, math, and communications. Now that's not everything, but those are the sort of the categories that I like to talk through. And that can be anywhere from accessibility, it might be learning differences, it could be mobility impairments, and it could be things like equity, like students that have internet at home versus students that don't have internet at home. It might be English language learners, or another one is the parents of English language learners. How do you include the parents of your community into your school system? And a lot of schools have challenges with that. So inclusion can mean many, many different things. But when we talk the inclusive classroom, a lot of times it's the bedrock foundation. And things like reading and writing and math, that applies to everybody. But if you design inclusively, it helps those who need it most, but it helps everybody. That's kind of how we think about it.
I love that. That really, I think because there's some people out there that still don't really have a clear understanding of that. So I think that really kind of sums it up beautifully.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. Like we even have this discussion across our team all the time about how we even have to stop and think when we're presenting to people who's in the audience and who is a part of this conversation, not just people who don't have needs, but there are people that we can't see their needs or understand their needs, and so we need to be as inclusive as we can. So this is changing our mindsets. So one of the things we wanted to know is, how does OneNote help facilitate an inclusive classroom?
Yeah, so OneNote's great with inclusion, and I would say there's quite a few ways. Just the core structure of OneNote, and I've had a chance, as both of you know, to work with many, many students and teachers around the U.S. and around the world. just the actual binder metaphor of OneNote itself and that ability to have everything in one place. For a lot of students, whether it's executive functioning or whether it's kids who might be misplacing things or having challenges there, just that part alone at the core of OneNote is obviously helpful. But also the ability to differentiate in a class notebook and the ability to personalize. And so lots of different input types, audio, text, inking, video. Teachers can give lots of different multimodal feedback. And so teachers can personalize and differentiate feedback in ways that match that student's best needs. One example that we learned really early on with a class notebook, I still love this story, is one of these schools has a paraeducator. And, you know, a paraeducator might be either a parent or a helper in the classroom who's focusing on just one student who needs special assistance. And oftentimes that person will be sitting literally next to the student and walking with them to different classes, which is very stigmatizing, as you can imagine, if you're that student. So the class notebook, that paraeducator was added as a co-teacher. And then now they can look into that student's binder, either from the back of the classroom or in a different room, give them feedback, whether it's inking or audio, and kind of go along with them, but not be sitting next to them. Mm-hmm. And the educator telling us that story, the teacher of the class started tearing up when he was saying the impact on that student not having to have a physical adult move with him or her throughout the school. So those are ways. And then obviously the immersive reader, which we might talk about a little more, the immersive reader is built right in. Mm-hmm. And so that is a great way to allow students to access content. And now with translation, you know, any content type, scanning in, translating, even math. So now math is built into OneNote. And we have inclusive math with the ability to read equations and the ability to help with solving. So we're really trying to bring a lot of those pieces right into OneNote. Even dictation, speech to text is now built into OneNote. Yeah. And so the thing that I always say about not just with OneNote, but all of the Microsoft platforms is built-in, mainstream, non-stigmatizing, and free. Because all those things matter in a school system. Right? If you're stigmatized, you're not going to want to use the software, even if it, it helps. Or if it's really expensive, well, maybe the schools can't afford it. If it's built in, anyone can use it, right? It's not just the kids who need it most. We have all sorts of kids using dictation. We have all sorts of kids using the immersive reader. So OneNote is definitely, I think it's an inclusion powerhouse. I'd go that far.
Oh, I like that. That's a great way to put it.
Inclusion powerhouse.
Yeah. For my family, both of us have children who are dyslexic. And so that was huge for my son going into middle school and having someone come over and read to him every single question. That's embarrassing and hard. And so that was really empowering for him to be able to listen to whatever it is he needed read to him through OneNote. So, I mean, the stigmatizing piece is huge.
Yeah, I
middle school anyway.
Well, we want to know, this is a common question, but what is your absolute favorite feature in OneNote? Do you have
Can you
an
name
absolute
one?
favorite?
Well, I mean, at least right now, I have to go with the immersive reader. I mean, that one, there's a lot of goodness going on in the immersive reader, and that one I would say is quite cool. After that, one of my most favorites is, I'd say, the ink replay.
Yeah.
Have you seen that in the Windows 10 app or an online? You can write out math or write out handwriting, and then you can select it or the teacher can select it and just hit replay, and it replays it exactly how it was done. So you can kind of watch the learning or the process happening in real time, and then you can rewind it and fast forward it. So I mean, that goes beyond anything that the analog world can do, right? And that's something that allows new pedagogy and new ways for feedback and all sorts of interesting things. So that's maybe my favorite.
Not even making a video. Like, you don't have to create a video. You just drag it and it plays it, so that's just such a time-saving step, too.
And we really focus in our district on high-yield strategies, and that is one of them, is having the ability to replay in the moment content and to rehear that instruction or see that instruction over and over again. So that's great. So we want to know, can you share with us something new in OneNote?
Well, not only can I share something new, I might hint at stuff coming soon too.
Yay!
So a couple of new things we just launched. One was we're trying to bring a lot of the capabilities from the OneNote 2016 desktop class notebook toolbar, page distribution, review student work. We're trying to bring all those into the Windows 10 app, OneNote Online, iPad, and Mac, so across platforms. So we just launched cross notebook distribution, which is a top request. So, take one page and push it out to 5 different notebooks with a single click. And then we also added the copy content library. I think the other ones that we're in the process of working on right now are individual distribution and group distribution. So the ability to push out individualized content and groups. That's coming probably in the next couple of months. We're also working on some things like the ability to distribute a page into a section group. That's been a top request. Distribute a section group and then push a page into that section group. We're also working hard to try to do multi-page distribution and sub-page distribution. So some of those things are coming soon. So a lot of the things that you've had before, we're trying to bring forward. Then the other one that again, I'm not going to promise a date, but I will say we're definitely thinking about it, is we know that when you set up a Teams notebook and you have a team and you have a class notebook in there, it's empty. And we'd love to be able to allow teachers to pull in like master curriculum content or pull in existing content libraries or pull in existing teacher-only stuff. So how do I, it's the start of the year, I want to pull in a bunch of content from last year to populate my notebook. I would say in the future, and not too far, you might have a nice little way to import that as you're setting up your team's class notebook. So,
yay! That just made our day.
We know there's a big demand for that to save time and help educators out. And then on the OneNote side, we just announced the condensed notebook picker. So in the UWP app, you can now have the notebooks aren't like that accordion. You can drop it down. The other thing that we're thinking about in the future, I can't promise a date. Hopefully by fall or maybe by winter. In 2016, you can pin the notebooks so they all stay open all at once.
Yes.
So that's the Educator Command Center feature, right? You can expect at some point in the not too far future, you'll be able to pin your notebooks in a very similar way in the UWP or the Windows 10 app, as well as iPad or Mac. So that one is on the docket. We're also working on page templates in the Windows 10 app, which we know is the top one. And then, well, I'll stop there. There's a few others. That feels like plenty, right?
It's going to have everything 2016 has and more, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, all the things in 2016 that educators want the most. Like, we're not going to replicate every single thing, but we're going down the list of the top requests, and we're kind of knocking them out.
That's awesome.
Good. Jenny has worked really well with our principals in our district. So we have 26 schools, and a majority of them have staff notebooks. And oh my goodness, it's like transformed the district. And so we are like, yes. So we even call her the OneNote Queen because we're like, look what she's done. It's so great. But we were super excited to hear that they're coming, or that we could possibly put it into Teams, because a lot of them already have them built out. But we didn't want to have to read
all that.
So we were like,
So, well, if we would add that same capability to a staff notebook. So if you're setting up a blank staff notebook, how do I pull in the content library and some of those? We're not going to be able to import every single private notebook, but it'll be like the content library or leader-only sections, and some of that we'll be able to import automatically.
Awesome.
They've been just a game changer because teachers don't have to keep up with all that paper and all those emails, and then you can just change those schedules automatically, and just being able to go to one click. We love it.
One of my favorite signs or photos I ever saw, I was on Twitter. Some principal took a picture of her door, and there's a piece of paper with handwritten note on it that said, "Before you ask me, check the OneNote."
We have some principals that have said that exact phrase. They sound like a record.
No, we should make those for them.
I know.
Great idea.
Love it. Yes.
We're doing that.
Okay, done.
We have some new inclusive features outside of OneNote. There's some very exciting new inclusive features that just came out. And just yesterday, we announced that real-time captioning, real-time captioning is coming to any Teams meetings.
Yes.
So what that means is in Teams, I could go in here and click a button that says start captioning, and it'll write my captions out in English in that meeting. So think about meetings, maybe remote meetings with PLCs or with parents who don't speak the same language, because you'll be able to set your language too. so it can caption your meeting in any language you choose.
Oh my
Built
goodness.
in. Yeah, we
That's
just announced it
amazing.
yesterday.
Wow.
Right? Talk about inclusive meetings. How do you include the parents?
Yes.
How do you include other staff members or have meetings across world? You're meeting with your PLN across global areas. You can now real-time caption the language.
Now we do. One of the things we really enjoyed, we looked at the mech at the dyslexia course. I think you were
Oh,
going to
yes.
mention it.
Maybe I should share my screen here.
Yeah,
shouldn't I?
would you?
Yeah, hold on.
Go ahead and give us a little info about it. We really enjoyed it.
So, and you have the URL that you'll share with the folks. There's a URL on the Microsoft Educator community, and this is a dyslexia awareness course. And we worked together, and I actually worked very closely with this nonprofit. They're called Made by Dyslexia. They were started by Richard Branson originally, who's kind of one of the world's most famous dyslexics. But out there in the United States and world, there's not really a lot of expertise, and a lot of educators weren't, quote, trained on dyslexia.
Right.
And so we said, hey, let's put together an hour-long course, short videos that are entertaining but informative with sort of famous people to keep your attention. And we put out this course. And so you can see, here's the about dyslexia, and Richard Branson talks a bit about it. And there's a module, and then reflections. Orlando Bloom. Oh, there goes my dog. And then Kira Knightley, dyslexic challenges. They talk about indicators of dyslexia. And it's a really nice and short course, but if you know nothing about dyslexia, which is a lot of people in the country, and unfortunately a lot of educators weren't ever taught this when they were going to teacher college, it's a great way to just get the base level understanding of dyslexia. And it's a free course, and it's not only for educators, it's for administrators, it's for parents, it's free to anyone, and it's quite useful. And so this is something that's free and just takes an hour of your time. And we've got a lot of great feedback from people who've been doing it.
I actually shared some of the videos with my son, and I even think that was super helpful for him to hear, because a lot of the times it is, he has a self-doubt mindset of, oh, I can't do that, or oh, that's really hard for me, or I just, a lot of doubting himself. And so to hear people encourage him,
Been successful.
yeah, and to be able to say, oh, it's like a superpower because my brain thinks differently in good ways. I think that's super empowering for him to be able to hear other people with that same testimony of how their brains are different, and it's good. So
Yeah.
I really appreciated those videos.
Yeah, and we're going to be working more with Made by Dyslexia. We're actually working with them in April for a U.S. event, and we're going to have more training courses. So part of it is we want to, Microsoft has the scale of our community, and we want to work with some of these top organizations to help get more content and training and awareness out there. So that is out there. And then the other one that's out there for people that don't know, and I've put the link, you guys have the link, but we call this Inclusive Ultimate. So there's all these links on professional development and content and how to get help and videos and blogs about inclusive classroom, but there wasn't one place to find everything. So this is the one link to rule them all, which is our Inclusive Ultimate link. So there's great content on bookmarking different sites, PD, how to get help, how to set up for admins, top recommendations for other articles, videos, blogs. I mean, it's got everything in one place, and everything here is pretty much free. So
Amazing.
it's a great site to just really understand the full inclusive classroom, soup to nuts. And related, and again, I know you're going to put this link in the blog, I've got a public PowerPoint deck that I present all the time on inclusive classrooms. And it has all sorts of deep dives into reading, writing, math, and communication. So if you want to see all the details and sort of examples of the products and how they work and the feedback and the learning outcomes, there's this public deck that I have available for anyone, any school district, any trainer to take a look at. You can steal pieces. It's got the periodic table of learning tools, things like that are in here. So that's one more resource that's available on inclusion. And then lastly is sort of similar to the Inclusive Ultimate, we've got a OneNote Ultimate site that's got all the links in one place. So bookmark sites for help, professional development and training, real world samples, how to get help. Oh, look at this one. Fun music videos about OneNote. I see a song here, Jenallee, so maybe in the closing credits we can hear a little of this. There's some fun stuff. but all sorts of great information on OneNote. So the OneNote Ultimate is another great site, just a one link to rule them all. So those are some of the sites that I think are super helpful.
Those are great. We're definitely going to be sharing those out.
Yes.
For sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
I can't.
It's exciting.
It's wonderful. I know.
We can go home now.
I know.
We just,
our day's done.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show and for sharing all of that awesome information. We're going to go back and take a look at everything, and we'll definitely be sharing this with our teachers and also our administrators and also our viewers. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you on person and in line and in video.
Yay!
Yay!
Have a great day.
My one and only OneNote.